The 1% rule. Have you heard about this? It is how small changes lead to big results. I love this idea. So when I first started losing weight, I thought it had to be kind of that all or nothing because that's how I'd lost weight before, but it wasn't sustainable. As I learned that 1% feels completely simple and doable, I was able to do more and more of those 1%. So 1% rule is where you take something so insignificant that it doesn't seem at all like it would matter and you level it up just 1%, one tiny percent. So instead of saying, I will never overeat again in my entire life, or I will never have sugar again in my entire life, or whatever the thing is, I will only eat clean or I'll be vegan for the rest of my life. Instead of making some big, grand, sweeping decision, try this 1% rule. What's one thing that can be 1% different? And that's all we're looking for is 1% different because 1% is doable. All of it is so overwhelming. It is so confusing. And so when you pick that one thing to do 1% different, what you're doing is you're creating a snowball effect. Imagine the snowball that you would get if every day you added to that snowball just a little bit more over the course of a year. It would be ginormous. So big changes feel totally overwhelming. And that's why we don't stick with them. In the beginning, we're not really sure how to do the things, how to lose the weight, how to not overeat, what foods to have or not have, all the things. And we think that it has to be hard. And that overwhelms us, so overwhelms us. And then you don't want to stick with it because it's hard. It's hard, it's confusing, and we're not feeling good about it at all. So when it's small, it's doable. It's small and doable. And guess what? It's sustainable. Those were the things I did, all these little things. And I remember so many times saying, none of this is going to make a difference. And guess what? That one thing by itself doesn't make a difference. But what I was saying was that compounding effect. I love that word compounding effect because I don't really know exactly how all that works when we talk about finances, but I know that means I get more money, right? So when we hear compounding effect, I always think about like it's probably that percentage per day and it compounds. And I don't exactly know how all that works, but I know it's a good thing, right? So compounding effect with weight loss, we're just stacking habit after habit after habit. And all those little stacks of little 1% things that don't seem like by themselves would make any difference, they make a huge difference. So I heard someone saying, if you take a plane and the trajectory is like the direction the plane is going, and you change it 1%, you are going to end up in a completely different place if that plane flies in a different path, 1 degree different from where it started. If you're not flying in a straight line, that 1% is going to throw them completely in a new location. So imagine if you did 1% every day, that 1%, you would be so far from where you started at. It would be growth and it would be change and it would be easy. It would feel like I can do this. I would gain some wins and some confidence. It would help you eliminate all that pressure that thinking the all or nothing, or I have to do all these steps right now. These are the diet rules that builds all that pressure on for you. So you would feel like I've got time. I would be okay in the calmness of just doing the 1%, knowing I did enough. It's kind of like people who like clean their house and every room is something different each day. So like maybe today I run the vacuum through the whole house and tomorrow I dust everything, which I know people are going to say, no, you got to dust before you vacuum. Okay, so let's switch it around. We dust first one day, we do a vacuuming one day, maybe we mop one day, and then we do toilets one day. Like everything's just one little thing. So it's not everything today. It feels like, yeah, I could do that. I could wipe the bathroom mirror down when I get done. Weight loss is the exact same. And it could be something simple. It doesn't have to be perfect, right? We're just looking for 1%, something that doesn't feel like a lot. Like it could be a glass of water. What if you did one glass of water when you woke up tomorrow? What would that do? And so I just got off a coaching call and she told me how she stayed up late last night. And she said that she set herself up for failure this morning. And I was like, really? Because all she didn't do was go to the gym before work. And she made a plan immediately after work to go to the gym. I was like, so how is this day failing? Like, that sounds like big language. And so when you set yourself up for that 1%, that's not going to make the whole day fail. And then you don't have to use that kind of language with yourself. I know 1% is super easy and doable. And so she has totally pivoted and she's getting the job done. But look at all those things she could have missed out on by telling herself her whole day has been set up for failure. And so every little thing we do sets us up for success. How about that language? Doesn't that feel good? It sets us up for success because it's 1% better. It's 1% different growth change than where we started at. And it can be the glass of water. It could be a little bit before, a little something like I go to bed a little earlier, or I do something for myself to make something easier. I make a plan for my food. I lay my pajamas out and brush my teeth. Anything that feels good. Maybe you add a vegetable to your meal, or you take a 5-minute walk. Whatever can be 5% better, 5%, 5-minute walk, 1% better. I'm not jumping the gun on you. So, what I want you to do is, I want you to just think for a moment about what is something that could be 1% better. And so, when I was losing weight, I heard this idea. And in the moment, I couldn't think of anything because what I was doing was I was trying to think of things that would make 25 to 30% better. And I thought if it was something so small and insignificant, but its result was huge, that was the thing I was looking for. So what I did one time, I wrote down 100 ideas, 100, because to get 100 1% level ups, that would be 100% different, right? And so none of those things were things that I thought would be the thing that would make all the difference. And so I was out of that thinking, and I was able to just look at what's one thing, 1%. One more thing, 1%. And I put stuff on this list. I made a whole list. Like I said, 100 things. I put things like park further away in the parking lot. I put pack my food the night before. I put things like a bigger water bottle to see if it made it easier for drinking more water, or a new recipe, or all kinds of things. I just kept putting things in there. Does sleep music 1% level up? Let's try to go to bed, a little earlier tonight and play some sleep music. There were things I could try in so many different areas. And so, could I leave 2 bites behind with my meal? Could I eat half of my meal? Could I wait and skip lunch? And I'm not promoting skipping meals. That's not what I'm saying. It was just, what could I try? What was I willing to try and see what it did? And so I was able to learn from that one what my body felt like when it was hungry, knowing I'm going to get to eat again. I'm not waiting. I'm not starving myself. I just want to see what my sensations felt like in my body. All these things helped me learn something else. And so they were really great 1% level ups. And I had a whole list of them, 100. So anytime I thought I'm doing all the things, which is another way of saying all or nothing, I'm doing all the things, I deserve the result. Something needs to be tweaked. And so when I had a list of 100 ideas that I wasn't tied to any one of them being the thing, it made me so much more willing to try so many things. I wasn't worried about if I was doing it all right because I had a whole list of things to keep trying. And so that's what my 1% rule was. The 1% level ups made it so much easier to just keep trying things. All right. What is something that you can do tomorrow? I'm not even going to make you have to decide today. What is something tomorrow that you can decide to do that's 1% different than today? Just pick that one thing. I would love to hear it. If you want to send me that after you hear this, just send me a message. Kara Hackleman at coachingkara.com is my email. I would love, love, love to hear what your 1% level up is going to be for tomorrow. I want you to remember, big results don't come from big leaps. They come from small, consistent steps. And success is the sum of small efforts repeated day in and day out. So some of these are going to be a one-time and done, and others are going to become a new habit for you, something you do every day or at least most days. All righty, I'm going to jump off here and I will see you next week. I have a webinar coming up. Make sure that you sign up for that, coachingkara.com/sign up, and I would love to see you there. Bye. That wraps up another empowering episode of the Concierge Weight Loss Podcast. I hope you found inspiration and actionable insights that will propel you towards your weight loss goals. If you're ready to dive deeper and accelerate your progress, don't miss out on our free 5-day quick start weight loss course. Head over to coachingkara.com/free course to gain access to a wealth of valuable resources, guidance, and support. The time for change is now, and I'm here to guide you every step of the way. Remember, your transformation starts with a single step. Take that step today and unlock the life you deserve. Stay tuned for our next episode, and remember to keep striving for greatness.